are live from the Lakehouse. My name is Holly Smith, and with me I have my wonderful co-host, Jimmy O. Jimmy, hi, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Hasn't it been an amazing day so far?
I'm choking, it's been so good.
It's so good you're choking.
So we've had a fantastic lineup
Yes,
of guests,
we have.
and our next guest is absolutely no exception whatsoever.
She's
You know
amazing.
her better than I do, Jimmy, so why don't you take
I
the
know.
intro?
Caryl Yuhas, she's our global practice lead. Amazing person that we're going to be talking to today. Everything around machine learning, and she'll be able to give you all the information
Not
that
all.
is needed today. So Caryl, welcome.
Awesome. Thank
Tell
you
us
so
a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I have a first question, like, what is a practice lead?
Yeah, a lot of people
I'm
ask me
sorry,
that.
so please tell us.
And the easiest way I can explain it, the one that's really landed with people,
Yes.
is I am the union rep for SAs, basically, your solutions architect.
Okay,
Oh.
and so we got many thousands of people at home. What is a solutions
Yeah, what's a solutions architect? So at Databricks, we have about 700 or 800 solutions architects, and we're the folks who come out to our customers, help you understand if Databricks is something that could be useful for your organization,
Yes.
figure out where of all of the things that we can help you out with, where
Yes.
we can be the most helpful and how to get started and set up and start generating that value.
So you have like a bird's eye view of all of the like the technical conversations that are happening with our customers. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not in a million places at once, but I try to absorb the themes.
Yeah.
And before I moved into this role, so that was about in February. Before that, I was in the field and mostly working with startups and digital natives. So, the up and comers really pushing the envelope on the technical stuff.
And you have been, a long-time member of Databricks.
Yes.
You've been here, six and a bit years?
6.5 years.
Whoa,
yeah.
what kept you that long?
Feels like a marriage.
What kept you that long and
well,
as
things
you've
just-
joined Databricks?
Yeah,
so
this is
lot
the
has
longest
changed,
I've ever
right?
done anything. Like,
Yes.
I went to college for 4 years, and that was impressive to me.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
6
yeah.
years is a long time, and I think it's because everything has changed so
Yes.
much.
Yes.
But the things that drew me here in the first place haven't, right? We have such
Yes.
innovative co-founders who are just committed to pushing what we can do with technology to solve some of the most exciting problems there are out there, and we've continued to stay dedicated to that innovation.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think the open source strategy is a good example of that, right? We always say, okay, whatever we build is eventually going to become open source, which means we're betting on the fact that we're going to find the next thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, we talked a little bit about how you see all of these trends and, the things that are going on. Can you talk to us a bit about machine learning? Now, obviously, this is a
Yes.
very hot topic at the moment, but can you talk in a bit more kind of like generalities, like what are the trends that you're seeing? What is popular? What works well for people?
Yeah, I mean, I think the interesting thing is that about a year ago, it seemed like ML was still something far
Yeah.
out. Like,
It was, wasn't it?
people were like, okay.
And now everybody's
cutting
talking
edge.
about it,
Yeah,
right?
like in the
Right.
future, and then we'll have some, and then we'll do some ML, and now
That's
people, I think, have
right.
realized
Yes.
that.
Yes, it's like we'll put a couple penny stocks kind of thing as a business, and then in the long run, we'll be caught up. But within the last 6 months, it's like
Yes.
if you're not doing it, you're behind.
You're behind, yes.
And this idea of LLMs and the fact that there's more mainstream, at least awareness of what it can do for everyone on a day-to-day basis has created so much demand that you really can't sleep on it.
Yes.
Not, from everything from, hey, I'm a startup and I have some ideas. How can I bring value to the average person? So many new possibilities.
Yeah.
But even within an organization, if you're not figuring out how to take advantage of the power of ML, you are going to fall behind just because
Yes.
it will allow you to leapfrog
Yeah.
Yes.
so much of your competition, right?
So here's a question for you. So obviously LLMs, hot new thing. They're not trivial, are they? I mean, if someone has not really done any machine learning up until now, like are LLMs a good place to start? I mean, are there things out that make it easy enough, or should they start with maybe some more basic ML techniques and then kind of graduate into harder things?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I mean, I think for organizations, there's probably a lot of value in figuring out how can LLMs be useful for me, because there's some magic about everything that's being developed around it and some of the fundamentals around it, and especially with what's available in Databricks, that makes it more approachable. And we're just continuing to develop there. As an individual, like an individual who's maybe new to the space, I would definitely recommend starting from the basics and the fundamentals. Like, what are we talking about here? What are the pieces? And maybe demystifying some of the things, just because one day you won't need to worry about that because
Yes.
everything will pretty much be abstracted for 95% of people. But today, it's still going to be such a hotbed of innovation. And, for folks who aren't familiar, learning what are some of the fundamental pieces will
Yes.
help us figure out
Yes.
how can
Yes.
LLMs actually drive value. Because we
Yes.
don't know yet.
Yeah.
It's still an exploration.
But
Yeah,
that
that's
brings
really
us
true,
to
yeah.
a great question around, LLMs. How do we make sure that companies can democratize, LLMs within their organization?
Or just
'Cause-
ML, really.
yeah, or just ML, really, right? Because a lot of our customers are still having challenges. What would you say, based on your experience, what other customers have done that made them successful,
Yeah.
leveraging an ML, architecture?
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be a need for enablement, right? I
Yes,
think there's
yes.
still like this idea that skills gap is the sort of like limiting factor in the whole system, doing anything to do with data from just getting it clean enough to use to actually
Yes.
using it. So
Yes.
there will continue to be a place for that, and in a meta way, like LLMs are actually going to be incredibly helpful and useful
Yes.
in making
Yes.
that enablement piece more approachable, right? So just the fundamentals of, okay, if we want to democratize ML, how can we scale up the group of people who
Yes.
can work with this? We scale education. How do we
Yes.
scale education, right? ChatGPT makes it a lot more approachable to learn.
Yes. Yes.
You can answer questions about fundamentals. What's the difference between this model and that model, and when would I use this? So
Honestly, like even just, I mean, I'm not I'm a data engineer. I'm not a machine learning practitioner by trade. But even
No.
just kind of like on a day-to-day basis, like being really good at prompting, like makes so much difference. Like there's a few things that always come up. When you have, when you encounter a new product,
Yeah.
and then someone's like, oh yeah, when talking about like something uses, I don't know, Apache Arrow to make something more efficient.
Yeah.
And you go to the Apache Arrow website or the GitHub and you look there and you read through the details and you're like, I have no idea what I just read. I don't understand this. ChatGPT, can you please make
Yes.
this simpler for
Yes.
me to understand what is actually going on here?
Yes.
Like I think anyone can do that. And there is like a bit of a trick to it to like get it to like, give you a more useful answer. And I think, it's not just like me,
Yeah.
it's not just alternate Googling, but things like Copilot as well. There's a lot of people that are going to benefit from these particular things. So,
Yes.
yeah, although we're saying, start with kind of like normal like machine learning. I think in terms of like being the recipient of this information, like completely go nuts when it comes to LLMs.
Yeah.
But I think
Before
some of
you
the
go and
things-
tune your own, that's the hard bit.
And you brought up a great point, right? But another thing is when you start looking at machine learning, governance is very important. The data is very important. How do we eliminate bias? What are some of the
Yes.
things that you're seeing around secure AI and governance, of the AI
Yes.
models?
So, that's why I'm really excited. That's one of the many reasons, obviously.
Excited
You
about
can
everything.
Tell. You can tell. I'm very passionate about this stuff. But I mean, the Unity catalog stuff I got
Yes,
to
yes,
yesterday
yes.
is just
Great.
so mind blowing because a natural follow on to as LLMs become more mainstream and
Yes.
become a part of people's lives. The question is, how do we know what models we can trust?
Yes.
Right, and I think a big part of that is like what data was used to train the model.
Mm-hmm.
The sort of models themselves, the like mechanisms for taking the data and then creating predictions.
Yes.
That doesn't really change per se. And I'm saying that super naively, not next to it, but that the things that are really the secret sauce and that
You're just
can
being honest.
yeah, that can pose the most risk and benefit really
Yes,
on both
yes,
sides of the coin,
yeah,
right? Is the
yes.
data set, and I think to be able to say yes, I can trace the lineage back
Yes.
from what data fed this model, so I know it's trustworthy.
Yeah.
The idea of having lineage and Unity catalog is one building block of that.
Okay.
And also, being able to diagnose and then fix something quite quickly.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you do discover an issue, something comes up, it maybe there was a result that wasn't quite optimal, someone flags it to you. And instead of throwing up your hands and saying,
Yes.
well, I have no idea where this came from, you can actually now trace it back. Which was the batch of data that I ingested, like what was the, unique IDs associated with
Yes.
it, like, it came from this table, but where did this table come from? You can trace it all the way back to be like,
Yeah.
is this like an ongoing issue that I need to fix? Or is this just a one-off because of some corrupted data?
Right,
Yes.
right. You're not so blind to all of the possible engineering
Yeah,
failures
yeah.
that corrupted your data, that
Yes.
fed your
Yeah.
model. The other thing is there are packages like Fairlearn, right, that Microsoft came out with that help assess the quality of your data and
Okay.
how biased it is and
Yes.
things like that.
Yes.
And you could
Yeah,
use
yeah,
something like
yeah.
Lakehouse monitoring to say, well, of all of the data sets that are feeding the model, can we
Yeah.
score, fairness or representation of a population based on
That,
what's in there?
that
So-
is awesome. I think the one question I have also is around, data sharing and marketplace of machine learnings. What are some of your thoughts around model sharing, right? And why would that be important to the business, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go a little like loopy Caryl here.
You're gonna get your tinfoil
I
hat.
feel like I've been selling this vision.
I know.
Okay, I saw this app called Pohl, and I feel like I'm free advertising for Pohl. So hey guys, if you're watching, but it was developed by the guys from Quora, I think, and
Yeah.
it's basically an app that has all the foundational models, so GPT-4 and something called Sage and things.
Yes.
And it also has a library of user-contributed models.
Yes.
And there was one that was called Music Assistant that I
Wow.
tried and it was like, give me a feeling. You'd appreciate this.
I would
Give me
love
a
it.
feeling, and it gives you the chord progressions. And it gives you
Wow.
instruments that you could use. And you can imagine in the future,
I
you
need
could
that.
lay tracks for you. And you could say, apply a filter that does this. So when you talk
I
about...
might use it for my next album.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna have to share that with you. So when you talk about like why is just sharing and collaboration so
Yes.
important in a world where that could be a marketplace and you might
Yes.
subscribe to plugging in different models into your main, right? Like
Yes.
being able to push your own music specialist
Okay.
LLM to the cloud, and whoever thinks it's valuable, they download and they pay for it.
That
pay
is
for
awesome.
It. I mean,
that is awesome.
would be amazing.
That is
Yeah, it's definitely been an amazing day, spending time, with you. What would you like the audience to really know about some of the things you're working on?
Yeah, I mean, we continue to stay committed to our customer obsession. It's something that I think the most exciting thing about working in this space is that we're all learning together.
Yes.
And you chase the value, right? It's really our customers who are building and delivering the value. So they're the ones helping. You guys are the ones helping us figure out, okay, what can we build that powers the stuff that your customers are really loving. So it's a partnership, lots of learning, and good stuff to come.
all right.
Thank
then.
you. So, Holly, do you want to round us up?
Yeah. So Caryl, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to talk to you.
Awesome.
All right. Up next, we have another Databricks
Another amazing
celebrity.
guy. I
It's,
cannot wait.
Absolute
Jason.
personality.
Yes.
Who we are so looking forward to speaking to. A man of many talents.
A man of many talents and many skills. And when I joined Databricks about 3 years and 9 months ago,
To be too specific.
to be specific, he actually presented, and I told him I want to look like him one day. And here we are together live
It's like twins.
from the Lakehouse.
It's twins. I'm
Yeah.
sat in between twins.
He's a better looking version.
I don't know about that, man.
Jason,
Jason,
what an
yes.
introduction.
Oh.
I bet you weren't expecting that.
No, not at all.
Sorry, I feel like we've not really done enough justice there, explaining what you do as part of your day-to-day role. So,
Yes.
Yeah, it's fine. First of all, it's great to be here with these Lakehouse legends. You guys are amazing.
Thank
So been
you.
big followers of you.
Thank you.
Throughout the years.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Jason.
So my name is Jason Pohl. I work in product specialist team, so I lead up a team of product specialists.
Yes.
We basically partner with product management and engineering, and we
Yes.
help shepherd new products into the field,
Yes.
and we help enable our field engineering as well as customers and partners on anything related to data management for me.
Nice.
So data warehousing, data governance, and data engineering, and the bedrock of all that is Delta Lake, of course.
There's been a
Absolutely.
lot of excitement at this event.
Yeah.
What are you most excited about? Because I'm excited about a lot of things.
Yeah.
And you're in products, you're probably excited about more things.
Yeah.
But what is the one thing that you're excited about?
The one, I don't know if it's the one thing, but like,
all right, you can have a few.
but a few. I mean, for me, I'm kind of a data guy.
Yeah.
So
Good.
what's going on with Delta Lake, I think is
Yes.
really
Yes.
changing things up.
Yes.
I'm also excited for the things that I'm not really an expert in, like
Yes.
the generative AI. Like it's just when you think you've mastered your domain, you just realize there's a whole other
There's a whole
bunch
lot
of things
more.
to learn. So
Who knew generative AI 2 years ago were going to be something that is mainstream? I didn't.
if you would ask
Forecast
me,
that.
if you told me 2 years ago, we're
Yeah.
gonna talk about LLMs, I would
Yes.
have gone to Google and said, what is an LLM?
How do I spell
I think
LLM?
I would have also been really skeptical as well. If
Yeah.
someone
Yeah.
told me that, it's going to be this chatbot, and
Yes.
you amount that you can get from it's unbelievable.
Yes.
But I am going to take a quick segue because I too am a data person. I'm also really excited about all of the Delta things that have come out.
Yes.
I absolutely love like simplified optimization.
Yes.
So things like liquid partitioning, like
Yes.
really like, and again from the like developer's perspective as well, that new kernel that's coming in.
Yeah,
Yes.
so it's really amazing. So I feel like Delta 3.0 has got some amazing new features.
Yes.
Kiss, yeah.
The Delta kernel, what we did was, whenever we first released Delta Lake, we just basically released a protocol.
Yes.
And then what happened was there was all these implementations of that protocol.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Sorry, for everyone at home, I'm not sure everyone knows what a protocol is. So
protocols.
Yeah.
It's basically just like a specification of, as long as you're going to integrate with something, you
Yes.
have to make sure that you
communication
build
line.
your integration in a
Yes.
certain way.
and read it in a certain way. Because
Exactly.
I think a lot of people, when they think about Delta, and you'd be forgiven, like people say that my file format is Delta,
Yeah.
which I don't, I'm not going to, be
don't
that jerk. It's like,
no.
oh, technically it's a protocol. But I mean, yeah, so it is technically
Yeah.
a protocol, and so that's got some
Yeah.
interesting consequences, like the kernel.
Yeah, you can go into the Delta Lake repo and actually
Yeah.
look for the protocol file, and it's
Yeah.
just a big long
Nice.
document.
Nice. Yes.
And so what happened is we implemented that protocol for Spark, and then also the Spark standalone, and those
Yes.
were in Java.
Yeah.
Then the community created more in Rust.
Yes.
And then now we've got like these different implementations, and every time we release new features, everybody has to integrate that into their implementation.
And play catch up. Which,
Yeah.
yeah. Like, how many? Because I think it's being simplified. Gosh, what was it, like 10, 15 separate integrations, and it's now gone
Yeah.
down to like 3.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
categories.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
with Delta kernel, we're going to basically simplify that in one place. We're going to
Yes.
get it. We've been inspired by the community, so we're building that
Yes.
in Rust, and then
Oh,
all the other implementations will basically just depend upon that, and
Yes.
then we'll be able to release features much faster,
Yeah.
including things like the liquid and the uniform stuff
Yeah.
that we
Oh,
announced.
yeah.
That was one of the
uniform.
next thing I was going to ask you about uniform, right?
Yeah.
I thought that was amazing, right? You have Apache, Hoodie, Delta,
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
uniformed on this Parquet file. Tell us a little about some of the value that our customers will get
Yeah.
from uniform. I see the value,
Yeah.
right?
There's
From
been a-
my customer, but I'd love to hear from you.
There's been a lot of noise about Delta Lake versus Iceberg versus Hoodie, but I think the big headline is that the Lakehouse architecture is winning. So
Yes.
people want the Lakehouse,
Yes.
and they're implementing it in these different formats. And when you get down to it, the format themselves, it's just a bunch of Parquet files
Yes.
with some metadata on top,
Yes.
and that metadata is just a little bit different. So what we've done with Uniform is, as you're writing the data out with Delta,
Yes.
you can basically replicate that Delta metadata into Iceberg and Hoodie
I like that.
automatically.
I like that.
Yeah.
And
I
then
like that.
it's incremental too. So every new write is just a little bit of metadata.
Yeah, I mean, so Monday, Tuesday, I spent my time teaching. I did the data engineering course, and we talk a lot about medallion architecture.
Yes.
And don't get me wrong, like Delta is there; it's really going to be beneficial for all of these things.
Yes.
But it does feel like we've got this great idea of medallion architecture and a lake house, and it's built, and then just like to quibble about like, how do you want to store your metadata
Yeah.
here or in a
Yeah.
slightly different? Like it feels slightly trivial.
Yeah.
And it's
Yes.
kind of like missing the wood through the trees.
Yep.
To do it like that. So it's absolutely fantastic. I mean, have you worked with any customers who've been able to try it yet?
We've been trialing with a few customers.
Okay, we don't have to
Great.
say any names,
Because it'd
but
be nice for them to actually see it, right?
Yeah.
How that would look like, how the format would look like,
Yep.
how the code would look like. Obviously, I'm not a coder like my beautiful co-host here, but at least I can go to ChatGPT and tell it to write me a code, right?
Just
About
need to know English.
plain old English. Like, how can I get data from a file system into a Delta file? All you have to do is just basically /Delta instead of Parquet, and then I have a Delta file.
Exactly.
So would that be the same, or would that even be even better than that, whereby you don't even need to specify, it's a click of a button
Yeah,
to
yeah.
enable Iceberg or
Oh,
Hoodie?
you basically just have to like set a table property.
Okay.
And then every write to that table just automatically replicates that metadata.
That is
into Iceberg.
amazing.
And then any system that can connect to Iceberg
Yeah.
can now connect to that same data table.
That is awesome.
yeah.
So how does query federation then play into that type of architecture?
Query federation?
Yes.
Well, query federation, you can federate. Those are when you're federating queries, out across multiple disparate systems.
Ah.
So we'll just be able to connect to the data where it exists and then join it together so that you can build your insights further down.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, this has been, absolutely amazing. What are you most excited about in terms of where you see the future of Delta, of some of these assets, Unity Catalog, Marketplace,
Yeah.
data sharing, Delta, you're managing those products.
Yeah.
Where do you see the future of those actually going?
Yeah, I think Marketplace just went GA, and it's based upon Delta sharing. I think we have nearly 100 providers on there already.
Nice.
And Delta sharing is something we released at the summit, actually, 2
Okay.
years ago.
Nice.
Yeah,
So
it's been in the
out
works
there.
for a long time. Yeah.
This share
And-
has been the market. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
and
awesome.
it's the foundation for the marketplace.
Yes.
And we're sharing things in the marketplace, not just data, but also models,
Okay.
notebooks. And what we're finding is it's starting to take off because there really isn't any other open standard out there
Nice.
for data sharing. And so we even got an announcement from Oracle, like in their Q3, they're going to implement the Delta sharing client
No
Yeah, we saw that,
as
yeah.
part of their
way.
autonomous database.
No way,
Yeah.
no way. I mean, this has been, really awesome in terms of where the product is going, with governance, with security, with uniform, anything we can really think about.
Yep.
And you're doing an amazing job. So, in terms of enabling our customers, right? Because I want my customers to be successful.
Yep.
What would you recommend as the easiest way for them to start looking and getting into Delta and the value that would drive for them?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, if you're not already on a Lakehouse format, if you're
Yes.
just using pure Parquet,
Yes.
then you're really about 4 or 5 years behind.
Yes.
Everyone has kind of set the standard of using these Lakehouse formats.
Yes.
And it's really as simple as just doing a convert statement to basically turn into Delta.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So just a simple convert statement. So Jason, thank you so much for
It's
joining
been
us.
amazing.
We have to go.
I cannot wait to
but-
chat with you.
All right. Thank you very much. We'll see you back soon.
See you next time.
Bye.
Have a good one. Bye.